Sasu had something very weird happen to him when he was very young. One day, a strange portal opened and an old man and a young girl came through that portal. The young girl was called Haim, as she had come to Earth with her grandfather. They told Satu to keep their secret and they moved it right next door. Now, in the present, 10 years have passed since that fateful day, and Satu is in high school. He also has a massive crush on Haim. They have been friends for 10 years, and he is madly in love with her. Haim has gotten used to living on Earth, and she's pretty popular in high school. She is the hottest girl in the class, actually. Sasu is now faced with a problem. He finally wants to confess his feelings and tell Haim that he wants to date her. The problem is he is afraid of her rejecting him. With a special festival coming in town, Satu decides to invite Haim to go together. He has finally decided to ask her to be his official girlfriend tonight at the festival. That same night, Haim gets all dressed up and meets up with Satu. It's very clear that she also has feelings for him but is afraid to make a move. The two have a wonderful time at the festival. They even flirt a bit. Finally, Satu thinks the moment has come and he can confess his feelings. Right before he does it, Haim thanks him for a wonderful night and tells him she is moving away tomorrow. Sasu is shocked. He feels like he has been punched in the stomach. Haim has tears in her eyes and leaves after saying her final goodbyes. That night, we learn that Haim and her grandfather are going back to their other world. Satu does not want to give up on his childhood love, so he rushes after her. We find Haim and her grandfather opening a portal and going through it. Satu arrives and he sees Haim with tears in her eyes. Without even thinking, Satu jumps into the portal. Suddenly, he wakes up in a totally different reality. He spots Haim going to an altar to marry a prince. There are also hundreds of people in this giant castle. Satu is losing his mind, but things just go from bad to worse. Suddenly, a giant demonic monster arrives and starts to attack people there. In the middle of this attack, Satu learns that Haim is supposed to marry some other lord and she is actually a princess in this fantasy world. Haim runs after Satu while he is trying to survive that beast's attack. She then kisses him and puts a ring on his finger. Satu then is able to activate a light power inside his sword, and with it he cuts the demon in half. Satu wakes up hours later, still in this fantasy world. He is now in the royal bedroom and Haim is there with him. She is so glad he is safe, but she then breaks the news to him. They are now married in this world, and because of that, Satu has insane light powers. Satu is totally confused and scared out of his mind, but at least he married his childhood crush. At least he did something right. While Satu is super happy he is married to Haim, he still technically did not confess his feelings towards her. Haim even tells him she is sorry for kissing him cause it was only to help him. She also does not know if he wants to just be friends. Both of them are now somehow married, but also afraid to confess their feelings for each other. Oh no, this is just going to be 50+ chapters of them having romantic misunderstandings without ever dating. Even after sleeping together, Satu will be all like, "Does she like me?" Satu tells Haim that he has no problem staying in this world as long as he is with her. Soon he does find out that there are some issues in this place, namely, since he is now the chosen warrior, he will have to defeat the great evil of this land. Satu is now called the Ring King, and he has to rule the land and save it. Satu was forced to talk in front of thousands of people, but he gets so scared he becomes speechless. Satu just wants to relax so that he can think about his new life a bit more. He goes to take a bath in the hot springs, but he is not alone. Haim joins him, and yup, she is wearing nothing. Both of them are all nervous sharing the bath together, and Haim tells him that he does not have to be pressured to be romantic since their marriage is just a formality. Satu tries to flirt with her once again, but does not confess his real feelings. Suddenly, one of the servants arrives and he screams telling Princess Haim that the servants of the Abyss have arrived at the castle. On the outside, we see these servants and they are way too scary. Dressed in all black, without any real facial features and with horrific masks on their eyes. These servants have come for the Ring King. Satu is in really big trouble now. The guards at the front entrance of the castle are freaking out. The servants of the evil Abyss are way too scary. The guards hope and pray that the Ring King will come and save them. They are expecting a total badass to come in and deal with these monsters. Well, imagine their surprise when they see a horny high school student and his girl coming to their rescue. Satu and Haim got dressed all fast to come and help, but they had no idea what to do. Satu is confused, and to be real, he is totally afraid. Like just a few days ago, his biggest problems were math tests, and now demons and ancient creatures are after him. Haim's grandfather gives Satu a spear and tells him to use the light from the ring he got to fight the monsters. Haim also kisses Satu to give him a power boost. With literally no other choice, Satu goes out there and defeats a giant demon creature. It seems that the Abyss servants have summoned giant beasts. Satu is able to deal with the giant monster, but soon he is faced with one of the servants of the Abyss. Satu thinks he can fight, but this servant hits him so hard he goes flying into the wall. Now his weapon is broken and he is beyond injured. The grandfather arrives and tells him to run away as he does not stand a chance to fight these servants. Soon after Prince Marmages, the one who was supposed to marry Haim, arrives and saves Satu. Satu, the prince, Haim, and the grandfather drive away to safety. Haim's grandfather explains that the Lord of the Abyss will now be after Satu, and he needs to run away as far as possible. He also tells him he is not strong enough to face even the Lord's servants. Satu is confused cause a minute ago everyone was telling him how OP he is, and now he is weak. Then the big reveal happens. Satu has to gather 4 more rings in the kingdom. These rings are all given to him by 4 princesses he must marry. Satu is shocked by this cause it means he has to build a harem. Bro is not only getting 1 girl, but 4 more. He hit the jackpot after all. We find our group taking shelter in a faraway tavern. Then Haim's grandfather does what every old dude does in manga stories. He gives exposition to the main characters. He explains that in the past there was a great warrior in these lands, the first Ring King. He went up against the Lord of the Abyss and was able to defeat him using the power of the 5 rings. After the war was over, the Ring King decided to hide his rings in the kingdoms of his 5 wives. This way, when the new Ring King came to power, he could find these rings and once again fight the evil Lord of the Abyss. Now Satu has to follow in those same footsteps. The problem is he kinda still hasn't confessed his feelings for Haim, and this is a bit awkward. The prince who is also with them thanks Satu for becoming the Ring King instead of him. The prince saw all those monsters coming after Satu, and he was like, no thank you, keep the rings. Satu goes to talk with Haim about their relationship status. After all, they are still horny high schoolers. Haim explains that she will follow him wherever he goes and she wants to be his wife. Satu finally admits she feelings and so does Haim. They kiss and things get steamy really fast. Satu stops himself since he wants to take it slow with Haim. He wants them to date before they smash. My brother demons are after you. You ain't got time to date and go to the movies. Haim's grandfather explains that they have to now travel to the Elf Kingdom where one of the rings is hidden. Satu is all hyped up cause this means he is going to get an elven wife. Haim and Satu also get new gear so that they can better survive in this fantasy world. Then they start their journey. The group travels for days and days so that they can reach the Elven Kingdom. Finally, they get off the wagon and start exploring a giant forest. This forest will hopefully lead them to the kingdom. Suddenly, they see a giant wind vortex. This is a protection spell that hides the Elven city. Satu and his group have to hide in the nearby caves from a giant bear. Inside of the cave, there are 2 elves, and Satu right away tells them that he's the Ring King, and he needs to meet their princess. Soon after that, the elves lead the group inside of the wind vortex, and they reach the kingdom of Lanka. This is where the Ring of Wind is hidden. Satu is super happy that they have finally reached their destination. They go into the main hall, and there they find an empty throne. The princess is hiding, and the moment she learns that Satu is already married, she is disgusted by him. Satu tries to explain the situation to her, but she runs away. Satu then meets her older brother, Jade. He explains that his younger sister is called Nephrites, and she is very emotional and sheltered. Jade then decides to explain some things to Satu and Haim. He tells him that they cannot see his sister at the moment. Jade tells the others that he has to talk with Satu alone. Satu thinks this means he will get some big reward or new weapon. Turns out Jade waits for him with prison guards, and he is put behind bars. Satu once again tries to tell Jade that he is the Ring King, but Jade tells him that this does not matter. His sister Nephrites is too immature, so Satu has to wait a bit in prison until she is ready to be married to him. He has to wait at least 50 years to be exact. Satu decides to take some time and rest in the prison cell. He has a nice bed and finally some peace and quiet. Satu is sure that the old man and Haim will come to rescue him in a few days. He remains in that prison cell for 3 days and nobody comes. At that moment, Satu starts to panic cause now it seems he might be stuck here for a long time. Suddenly, he is ambushed by a dark-skinned elf, and let me tell you, this is the candidate for best girl. This elf jumps on Satu, and before he knows it, he is staring at 2 massive boobs, the size of his head. This mysterious elf does not introduce herself, she just tells Satu that she will get him out of the cell. Satu was confused, but she is way too hot, so he trusts her. The 2 escape the prison ward and go into a tunnel that leads under the kingdom. Soon enough, they reach a giant room where the Ring of Wind is located. Satu spots 2 giant statues, and one of them has the ring. Suddenly, Princess Nephrites shows up. At first, Satu and a mysterious elf lady hide, but soon they get caught. At that moment, they decide to take the elf princess with them, and they start running. Jade finds out that his younger sister is missing, and now he is freaking out. He alerts all the guards and tells them to try to find her and the Ring King. Soon, the hot dark elf arrives, and we learn that she is one of the elders, the oldest elves in the kingdom. Her name is Peridot, and she teases Jade about being so obsessed with his sister. Peridot, it seems, has placed Satu and Princess Nephrites in a safe location so that they can bond and talk. Satu wakes up the princess, who is now totally naked since her clothes got wet. She is only being covered by a small blanket. Of course, the princess is shy and scared of Satu. This does not last long as he is able to charm her. He tells her that he is not that special and that he only came to this realm to protect the one he loves. Princess Nephrites gets interested in Earth and wants to learn more about that world. Even if she has spent most of her life reading books and being shut off from the outside world, she's very curious. The two are able to bond, but soon Jade arrives with his prison guards. He's getting ready to confront both Satu and his sister. Satu and the princess exit to face off against Jade and his guard. Prince tries to tell her brother that Satu is not that bad, but he does not listen. He orders her to stand down and to come to his side. With no other choice in being afraid of her brother's princess, Nephrites goes by his side. At that moment, the elder Peridot arrives and saves Satu. Later in the day, Haim and Satu talk about their experience in the Elven Kingdom. Peridot then arrives and tells them a story of how the city became protected by a giant vortex. Basically, in ancient times, a young elfish girl from the city became the owner of the Ring of Wind. She was supposed to marry an elf and rule with him. Turns out she fell in love with a human, a wanderer. The two wanted to be together, but the kingdom did not allow it. One day, he went missing and was probably banished or killed by the elves, who wanted him gone. The princess at that point also decided to leave the kingdom, but not before cursing it to suffering. For that reason, the parents of Jade and Nephrites gained the ring and sacrificed themselves. Their magic created the vortex to keep the kingdom safe from the curse. Haim and Satu talk about this and Peridot tells them that they have to choose if they are going to help the princess. Before she leaves, she asks them if they have slept together. This makes both Satu and Haim blush, but they admit to not doing it yet. Peridot explains that if they become intimate, they will increase the powers of the rings. That same day an attack begins. It seems that the Lord of the Abyss has sent his demonic beast to invade the kingdom. There is panic in the kingdom. Everyone is running from the flying demons. Also, we see the Knight of the Abyss. It has come for the Ring of Wind, and it is angry. Jade stands tall and protects the statue of his mother and father, and also the ring. He uses all the magic he can summon to fight the powerful Knight of the Abyss. In the meantime, Satu and Haim rush to the scene, hoping to save the kingdom. Finally, they reach their destination, and they find Jade injured. He cannot fight the knight for much longer. He is just not that strong. Satu takes out his sword and steps forward, ready to fight. Even if the Knight of the Abyss is very scary, Satu is willing to fight. Haim then kisses him and gives him a power boost. Still, she realizes that the power boost will not be enough, and she goes running. Princess Nephrite has shut herself inside of her room, and she is not coming out. She feels weak and afraid. She feels like she failed her mother and father and her brother as well. Haim then rushes to her door and tries to motivate her to become Sadist's wife. Haim praises Satu for being brave and kind. She also tells the princess that she is his only hope. Together, they can defeat the evil knight, but they need the help of the princess. In the meantime, we see that Satu is struggling while fighting the dangerous knight. It's a hard battle, and he does not have enough power. Suddenly, Princess Nephrite arrives at the scene. She accepts the marriage and kisses Satu. In that moment, the Ring of Wind is activated and a giant blast erupts all around the kingdom of elves. The giant blasts destroy the vortex that protected the Elven Kingdom, but it also destroys the demons and creatures that were attacking the place. Also, it shatters the mask of the Knight of the Abyss. In that moment, we learn that the knight was the elven woman that originally had the Ring of Wind and that lost her lover. Satu now has the Ring of Light and the Ring of Wind, and this has given him a major power boost. Still, after the battle is over, he wakes up in bed totally tired. His two wives are by his side and they are worried about him. Soon after, they are reunited with the elven woman, Peridot, the old man, and Jade. They'd all talk about the Lord of the Abyss and how he turned the elven woman into his knight. Basically, after she left the kingdom, she was furious and alone. At that moment, a voice from the darkness came to her. It offered her a new dark ring and power. Because of her anger, she took it and was turned into a knight. Also, Peridot reveals that nobody knows the true form of the Lord of the Abyss, and he is always hiding. That night, Satu, Haim, and Princess Nephrite all go to the hot springs. Things get lewd really fast as both girls fight for Satu and his affection. Even the best girl Peridot arrives, of course totally naked. Peridot really wants to see Satu just go crazy on his wives, but he is too honorable, and he stops all the horny time. Satu is a total buzzkill. The following day, Haim's grandfather talks with the elven woman who was the Knight of the Abyss. She wants to learn what happened to her beloved, and the old man tells her he is fine, and he is far away. Jade also has an emotional moment with his sister. He even praises her for growing up and being so strong. Hours later, the group continues their journey, now with a new member, Princess Nephrite. When the group leaves, the elven woman starts to remember her old lover and realizes that it was Haim's grandfather. Satu now travels with his two wives, the prince and Haim's grandfather. They are now exploring the nearby forest in hopes of finding more rings and more kingdoms. They do have to be careful so that they do not get into trouble with local monsters or servants of the Lord of Abyss. There are also many more important problems in the group. Haim is kind of jealous. Haim thinks that Satu has been spending way too much time with Princess Nephrite. He's being all nice to her and helping her out. Haim feels kinda left out, so she is angry. Soon after they travel for some time, they decide to rest up and take a break. This is where the problems start. Haim gets angry at Satu and runs off. Princess Nephrite realizes what is troubling Haim and goes after her. Both Haim and Nephrite talk while they take a bath in a nearby hot spring. Nephrite explains that at this moment she does not have strong romantic feelings towards Satu. He is just a close ally who helped her. She would never create problems for Haim and Satu, especially since she does not know real and true love. Soon Satu comes and finds the girls all naked, so they chase him away. Satu realizes that the girls have made up, so he wants to spend more time with Haim. While those two spend some quality time together, Nephrite looks at them. She gets red in the face as she starts to also feel something for Satu. Maybe she's falling in love with him, but she does not quite understand her feelings yet. The group continues their travels, and soon enough they reach something insane. Just as they exit the forest, they spot a cluster of giant buildings that are all moving around on wheels. Satu and the girls are totally confused by what they are seeing, but Haim's grandfather explains that they have reached the country of fire. This is the country of the cat people. They have created their own kingdom that is basically constantly moving. This way they can keep safe from the Lord of Abyss and his soldiers. Satu is super hyped to meet these new people, and Haim's grandfather explains to him that the Princess of Fire lies in this kingdom as well. She has the ring of, you guessed it, fire. The group is able to enter the giant moving city, and they start exploring it. There are hot cat girls all over this place. There are many merchants, shops, and other unique locations in the Kingdom of Fire. The group starts to explore the kingdom. Princess Nephrite is especially curious since this is her first time being away from home, and she's kind of excited and also scared. Haim takes her around the city to various shops so that she can experience the kingdom. In the meantime, Satu goes to meet the princess. Well, turns out the princess is kind of crazy. She's actually in a giant fight arena. There are dudes from all over the kingdom that want to marry her, so she has organized a fight competition. If the guy can beat her in combat, he can marry her. Satu and his group soon arrive in the arena, and they meet the Princess of Fire. She's a tall cat girl that is just a total badass. She also has major rage issues. We see her throwing a dude around like he is a paper doll. Satu decides to step up and try to defeat her. This plan does not go well. The princess leaps on Satu, and she knocks him out with one hit. He is able to dodge one of her strikes, but it's not enough. The princess stands above him and makes fun of him for even trying. This might be a bit more difficult than Satu imagined. Satu goes back to training. He realizes he is no match for the Princess of Fire, and if he wants her to marry him, he has to defeat her in combat. For that reason, he starts to train with the kind prince. The training is intense, and Satu has to do it every day. He has to improve his sword skills and also his dodging ability. This does not come easy to Satu since he is literally a normal high school dude. He went from struggling with math classes to now trying to be a lethal swords warrior. After his training is done, he goes to talk with Haim. She wants to make him feel better, so she pets him on the head and talks with him. The way Haim talks, it's very clear that she is jealous, and she does not want Satu adding any more wives. She's afraid for him since he has been pushing himself so much, but also she kinda does not want the princess to love and become the third wife. Later in the night, Haim's grandfather tells Satu that he can always use the magic rings he has in combat. Satu thinks that this is cheating and that the Fire Princess would not accept him. One of the servants of the Fire Princess tells stories about her. We learn that her name is Granat, and basically she is the strongest of all the cat people. Princess Granat has invited all the dudes in the kingdom to come fight her, and so far, all of them have lost. The odds are not looking great for our boy Satu. After a long day of training, Satu goes back to bed to rest. In the morning, when he wakes up, Princess Nephrite is under his sheets. She wanted to give him a massage before he goes to fight. Satu thanks her and then leaves. It seems that our girl Nephrite is ready to get down with Satu. She's making moves. After training with the prince, they go to a local bathhouse in the town. Soon, Princess Granat shows up, and she's totally naked. She even tells Satu that he has to massage her body. Satu, being the horny high schooler that he is, starts to lose his mind. Still, he promises Granat that he will fight it and defeat her fair and square. The day of the rematch arrives. Satu decides that he will not use his rings in combat, but now he is determined to defeat Granat. Granat is also hyped to fight someone worthy. The entire arena is filled with people that have come to watch them fight. In the meantime, we see a defeated knight. He wanted to marry Granat and rule the kingdom, but he lost. Now he is feeling down on himself and he walks away sad. Suddenly, the knight spots a ring on the ground. The ring has a dark glow and a sinister energy. And the knight hears a voice from the darkness. a shadow telling him that he can grab all the power he wants if he takes the ring. The knight, of course, takes it and soon becomes a servant of the Lord of Abyss. Just before Granat and Satu begin their battle, the knight arrives at the arena once more. Now he's under the control of the Lord of Abyss. Satu realizes that trouble is coming and he gets ready for a fight. Granat cuts the head of the knight, but it just reveals a horrible monster under it. He then summons two giant demonic lizards to fight by his side. Satu wants to fight, but Granat leaps into battle and tells him to watch and learn. The knight summons giant monsters, and now the cat people are going into battle. They all want to fight and prove their strength to Granat, their princess. In the meantime, Granat leaps into the fight and goes after the knight. The knight is now covered in dark flames, and he seems to just be getting stronger and stronger by the second. Granat tries to hit him with her sword, but her sword literally melts. She's then hit, but still stay in the fight. Satu runs up to the knight and tries to use his sword, but also gets knocked down. Granat tells Satu to run away, but he explains that he wants to help, even if he is weak. He decides to act as bait for the knight, and then Granat can attack. The knight goes after Satu, and using his wind ring, he is able to attack the knight for a moment. With the knight confused, Granat goes into the battle and cuts him. The dark ring gets destroyed, and the knight returns to normal. In the meantime, the cat people defeat the two lizards with no problem. Granat is very impressed with Satu and decides to be his wife. Haim is sad, cause she kinda hoped that wouldn't happen. Satu rejects that offer as he wants to fight Granat and truly earn her respect and hand in marriage. Everyone in the arena is shocked by this. They cannot believe someone rejected the mighty Granat. Haim is so impressed with Satu and his determination, but she does not understand why he is trying too hard. Princess Nephrite explains that Satu is doing all of this to impress Haim. Satu and Granat begin their fight, and it's brutal. Granat is just too strong, and with every hit, Satu goes down. Still, Satu is not willing to give up, and he yells that he has to be worthy of the wife he loves the most. Haim realizes he is talking about her, and then she yells out something wild. She tells Satu that she will have sex with him if he defeats Granat. Now this is the motivation every dude needs, and Satu is now ready to fight no matter what. Granat jumps in the air, and suddenly Satu hears a voice. This voice tells him he just has to listen and he will win the fight. Satu does not know what is happening, but he listens to the voice and dodges Granat. He then slashes her and defeats her in one hit. Granat right away jumps on him and starts to make out Tom and all. She tells him she will be his wife, and they have to start making kids right away. Haim then leaps into the arena and stops this since she has dibs. She first has to bang Satu. Satu and Haim return to her room and get naked. He jumps on her, but since he is too tired, he just ends up falling asleep on her boobs. The following morning, Satu thinks they did something, but Haim explains he just fell asleep. Satu then proclaims that he wants to wait for them to have sex when they get back to Earth. That's where they met, and they should really seal their relationship when they get back. Still, Haim is kinda horny, so she offers up one thing that Satu cannot resist: her boobs. Satu grabs those bad boys like he is fighting for his life. Soon, a naked Granat and Nephrite also enter the bed. Satu is a man suffering from success. Now with his 3 wives, Satu continues his journey. Soon enough, he reaches the Water Kingdom. This place seems very interesting since the population is a mix of dragon people and imperial soldiers. Dragon people almost have the exact same long lifespan as elves. Satu is surprised to see so many imperial soldiers in this kingdom, but soon he will learn just how troubled this place is. While walking in, he spots a girl coming up to him. She at first has her head covered. She gives him some flowers and then jumps on him and kisses him. Their marriage is sealed, and Satu gets the ring of water. It seems that this girl is the water princess, Saphir. She does not really want to be married to Satu, but hates the Imperials that are in her city. She has also lost faith in her father, so she is just doing this for revenge. Princess Masa goes on to explain the history of her kingdom. It seems that the Imperial rule has always been here, and they have slowly started to conquer more lands and kingdoms in this fantasy world. The kingdoms have to play nice with the Empire since they have a common enemy, the Lord of the Abyss. Right at this moment, Saluter Desaras, the oldest son of the Emperor, is in the city. He is a very dangerous knight and also the brother of our kind Princess Mars. Mars seems to be lost in the city as this place has a special meaning to him. As the group continues to explore the city, suddenly a giant monster leaps from the sky, an octopus demon sent by the Lord of Abyss. With no other choice and with 4 rings, Satu goes into battle. He deflects the monster and then cuts it in half. In the meantime, we see the king of the Waterland, and he is freaking out on his throne. He is also not alone. His advisor is right there. She's a woman cloaked in a black cape. Her face is covered, but the only thing we do see is that she has giant boobs, of course. She advises the king to attack the Ring King and to take his power away. She has the same voice as the Lord of the Abyss. Oh no. The Lord of the Abyss is hot. Princess Masa is not impressed with Satu. Originally, Prince Mars was supposed to be the Ring King and Satu just seems like a loser in comparison. Nephrite, Garat, and Haim come to the defense of their husband and praise him. Soon Satu is standing in front of the king and his advisors. We see the hot shadow lady is also there. Princess Masa hates that lady as she thinks that her father is being manipulated by her. Satu was allowed to stay in the city but under imperial guard. Slunar Desirous tells Satu that there is a battle raging on nearby, but he should not get involved since he could cause more harm than good. We then meet Saphira, the twin sister of Princess Masa. Saphira spots Mars and runs away in anger. Princess Masa then explains the lore. Originally, the Empire wanted to invade the Kingdom of Water. At one point they changed their minds and sent Mars to talk with the kingdom. As soon as he got there, he fell in love with Saphira. Mars promised that he would marry her in the future and that they would always be together. He was summoned back to the Empire, and it was announced that he will be the Ring King. Mars was then supposed to marry both Masa and Saphira. The problem is Mars did not become the Ring King, and now Saphira feels like he totally left her in the dark. While this high school drama is going on, the hot evil lady is hiring her assassins and giving them orders to attack the Ring King. Her assassins all chant creepy songs to her. Satu and his girls are now chilling with the dragon people and having a nice day at the beach. The girls are all wearing their hot bikinis that barely fit, and Satu is just loving life. He and Granat talk, and she tells him that she is ready to have babies with him right away. Haim hears this and gets pissed off. She comes over and she and Granat get into an argument about who is going to bang Satu first. Suddenly, Princess Masa arrives and her bikini is so small it's barely there. She does not have giant boobs like the rest of the girls, but she is still hot. Right away, she tells Satu she is not interested in him at all and he should forget about sleeping with her. Don't worry, girl, Satu ain't sleeping with anybody, he is saving himself for Haim. Later, Mars and Satu have a talk. Satu is sad that Mars gave up his right to be Ring King and now has lost his true love. Mars explains that he was impressed with Satu trying to save Haim and he did not want to get in the way of their love. Later, Mars has a harsh confrontation with his brother. It seems that the Emperor wants Mars to return home and soon an invasion of the Water Kingdom will begin since Mars is not the Ring King. All of this upsets Mars greatly and he does not know what his next move should be. Then he runs into the hot evil lady and she offers him a choice. He can destroy the Ring King and take up his power. She also tells him that he will get this chance when the monsters attack very soon. Mars is totally confused and he wants to know who this creepy lady is. She does not reveal her identity, but she offers him a dark sword and tells him that with this he can defeat the Ring King. The lady tells Mars that he has to do this if he wants to impress his father, the Emperor. If he does not get the rings back, he will be banished forever. She also explains that the dark sword has a special power. It deflects magic, so the Ring King will be helpless. Mars is conflicted about this. He does not want to hurt anyone, but he is too sad. He has lost his love, his home, his father will not let him return without the rings, and now he has no other choice. He is a failed prince and he has to change it. Mars starts to act more aggressive and it's clear that the dark sword is affecting him somehow. The following day, the Empire goes to fight a giant monster nearby. Satu has to defend the kingdom from a giant octopus demon. This is the monster attack that the evil lady told Mars about. This is his best chance to reclaim his power. Haim's grandfather, Satu, go to fight the octopus monster, but before they can take it down, Mars starts to attack Satu. Satu is totally surprised by this attack. Mars is always so kind. Haim's grandfather explains that something must be controlling Mars, but he will handle the octopus while Satu helps Mars. Satu starts to deflect the attacks, but Mars just keeps hitting him. Satu uses his rings, but their power does not work. The dark sword negates the magic from the rings. Mars is struggling with his emotions and Satu realizes that this is not his doing. Satu decides to stop fighting and he lets Mars cut him. Satu tells Mars that he is still in there and he has to regain control of himself. Satu is now injured and Mars starts to regain control of himself. Realizing he hurt his friend, Prince Mars feels even worse. He has now failed his lover, his friends, and his kingdom. At that moment, Satu tells him that he still likes him and he should stick around to help. Satu truly believes in his friend and suddenly Satu hears the voice once more. The voice tells him to hit the hilt of the dark sword. Satu does this and Mars regains control of himself. In that moment, the giant octopus creatures start to go berserk. It's not trashing everything and getting crazier by the second. The whole crew has to team up to take it down. The octopus monster then grabs Saphira and Princess Masa is worried about her sister. The crew starts to attack the giant monster, but it is too strong. Also, the evil lady reveals her true form. All this time, she was a knight of the abyss. She starts to attack the group as well with her dark powers. In that moment, Princess Masa decides to join forces with her husband Satu. She kisses him. The Ring of Wind activates and Masa is turned into a giant dragon. Now with that power, they are able to take down and destroy the octopus and also the Knight of the Abyss. She actually escapes right before she is totally destroyed. When Masa returns to her normal form, she is totally naked, but Satu is not complaining. Mars is reunited with Saphira, and he decides to marry her no matter what. He does not care about his father or about his duties. Saphira cries tears of joy as she hugs Mars. The Kingdom of Water is saved and everything returns to normal. The King of the Water Kingdom is now back to normal, and he gives his blessing to Saphira and Masa for the new partners. Mars even gets praised by his older brother before leaving. In the meantime, the Knight of the Abyss goes to another ally, the Emperor himself. She tries to seduce him and put him under her control, but he slashes her. The Emperor did work with her in the past, but now he is done. He does not want the gods to control this land. He wants his empire to be the one in control. Some time passes, and Satu is loving his time with his 4 wives now. The harem has grown a lot since he started his journey, and things are getting wild. All the girls are super horny and are constantly jumping all over him. Satu has to control himself since he is saving himself for Haim. He always has to repeat to the others that she is the only one for him. This causes all the girls to start fighting and arguing. The girls also have to create a special sleeping plan since they all want to sleep right next to Satu. Satu wakes up one night. All the girls are on his arms, and he wakes up Haim. He wants to go on a special solo date with her. For Haim, this is also super exciting. She accepts. The other girls wake up soon after and decide to follow them around. Satu asks the old man for some cash, and he takes Haim all around town. This is a very special day for them, and Satu wants to make the best day it can be. The girls are following them around and doing silly comments about their date. Finally, Satu and Haim end up near a park, and they sit by a water fountain. Satu realizes how cute and attractive Haim really is. This entire time, she has been in this super hot schoolgirl outfit. It really clashes with the whole Lord of the Rings type vibe this world has. Satu almost kisses her, but he gets all nervous. Haim also starts to tease him about being shy. Brother, you already made out, and you grabbed her boobs. What are we doing here? Haim and Satu continue their date. They go for some ice cream and sit by the beach. They look at all the people around them having fun. Satu then comments to Haim that he only came to this world to save her and help her. Now he is staying cause this is her world, and he wants to save it for her. He realizes that also the other brides he has are real people in this world, and he has to protect them as well. After their date is over, Haim thanks Satu for a fun time, but she says something shocking. She tells Satu that this will be their last date since he has a duty to the other girls. They are all his wives, and he cannot just focus on Haim. Till this is the same girl who has been freaking out for the last 10 chapters about Satu sleeping with his other wives. Satu then starts to yell at Haim. He does not want anyone but her. She is his only love. When Haim tries to leave, Satu turns up the Riz to max levels. He grabs her and pushes her next to a wall, and they kiss. It gets steamy really fast. Satu and Haim can barely control themselves, but Haim ends up running away. Satu is left with blue balls once more. It's time to leave the Water Kingdom, and Princess Masa has to make a choice. Since she's a ring princess, she has to join the Ring King on his journey. Princess Masa is not really in the mood to travel. She thinks all the girls are kinda useless, and she dislikes Satu. Still, after talking to her sister, she decides to leave to help out the entire land. Now Satu with Prince Mars and the old man begins another journey. This time they are traveling to Idanoken, the Earth Kingdom. Now there are many stories about this kingdom. It is the home of the dwarfs, but not much else is known about them. Princess Masa tells the story about the dwarfs. They had their own special trade routes. They kept to themselves, and they did not ask for help from other kingdoms. They were also targets of the Lord of Abyss. He would attack them with his monsters and ruin their kingdoms. This made the dwarfs go into hiding. Satu and his group traveled by carriage for quite some time, and soon they reach the kingdom, but it's a long way to the capital. Haim's grandfather leads the way, and they start climbing a giant mountain pass. It's a very harsh terrain. The old man warns them to be careful as they can fall off a cliff at any time. The girls notice massive skeletons in the canyons below them. They travel for a few days until they decide to take a rest. That night by the fire, Satu talks with the old man. Satu seems to be having doubts. He does not feel worthy, and he thinks that the Empire should handle the Lord of Abyss. Satu thinks he should just return home at some point. The old man explains that the Lord of Abyss has evaded capture for centuries, and so far his powers seem unlimited. Still, he has been gathering power to regain his body, and if that happens, the Ring King will have to stop him. The following day, the group continues their journey until they reach the lost city of the Dwarfish Kingdom. Right away, the group notices that something is wrong. The city is in total ruins. There is not a living soul there. Satu and the girls start to explore the city, but it's unlikely that any sort of princess lies here. Haim's grandfather is worried that they might be too late as this kingdom seems to be totally destroyed. Still, they continue exploring in the hopes of finding some answers. Soon they reach a giant palace. It seems to be the place where the royal family lived. They enter the gates and see a giant throne, but no ruler there. This truly is a dead city, and there is no sign of a princess or any ring. Satu has to find the Earth Ring in order to have full power. If he does not, then he cannot fight the Lord of Abyss. They explore the throne room when Satu spots a robotic knight on the ground. Haim's grandfather explains that the dwarf mages created these soldiers to protect the kingdom, but even now they seem to be totally destroyed. Suddenly, the Solider awakens and activates its power. The group realizes in that moment that this is another knight of the Lord of Abyss. Everyone starts to panic and Satu steps up to the fight the mechanical monster. Satu begins to fight the knight. It's brutal and intense. The Lord of Abyss talks through the knight. He wants to know Satu. He tells Satu that he is not worthy of the power and that he is an outsider. He tells him he should return from where he came from. In that moment, Satu is able to regain more of his powers, and he takes down the knight and deactivates it. The girls cannot summon their strength, and they all seem out of power. Haim's grandfather is worried, and suddenly the worst happens. All the dark rings that the group has collected so far from fighting the Knights of the Abyss, the rings go missing. They just vanish into thin air, and the ground starts to shake. The old man fears the worst, and then we see him. In a faraway land in a dungeon somewhere, we see the Lord of Abyss. He is covered in pitch-black armor, and he sits on his throne. He has now regained his rings, and he is coming back to life. Since the Rifle Ring King could not find his final ring, this gave the Lord of Abyss the final push to come back. The group starts to run away from the city, and outside monsters spawn in. There is millions of them. The old man is now terrified, and he orders the group to run as fast as possible. Soon they reach a clearing, and they can see what is happening in the distance. A giant black field with millions of monsters. The Lord of the Abyss is now at full power. The Ring King has failed, and the lands are lost. In that moment, Haim's grandfather makes a choice. He starts to open a portal to Earth, and he tells Satu to protect the girls. The worst thing that can now happen is that the Lord of Abyss gets his hands on the 4 rings connected to the girls. Whatever happens, they have to be safe. Prince Maris decides to stay and protect the portal, the old man. Monsters swarm them as the portal opens. The old man tells Satu to take care of the girls and give them a better life far away. Haim is in tears, and suddenly they are transported far away, back to Earth. Satu and his 4 brides are transported in the middle of a field near his hometown. They are back on Earth, safe and sound. Satu cannot believe what just happened. The following day, he lies in his bed, worried about the future. He does not know how the girls will adapt to this new life on Earth. He decides to visit them since they are staying in Haim's apartment. When he opens the doors, he finds all the girls are naked as they are trying out new clothes. Haim welcomes him only in her bra and panties. Satu is totally shocked by the mood change. Now things are back to normal, somewhat at least. Satu is back on Earth, and so is Haim, but also the other 3 girls are here as well. The elf, cat girl, and dragon girl are not really subtle when they are living amongst humans. Still, the girls seem to like it on Earth. Haim makes them feel as comfortable as possible, and they all live together. For Satu, it's nice to see how everyone is doing, but still something is bothering him. He did not want to leave like that. He wanted to help that realm and save them from the evil Abyss King. Now he feels like a total failure who just ran away when things got hard. Haim, on the other hand, is acting as if nothing happened, and she is just happy to be on Earth with everyone. Haim decides to buy new outfits for all the girls since they have to fit in somehow. All of them together go grab lunch, and people around them start to notice something is wrong. Oh, no kidding. The giant cat girl is not really blending in with the rest of the population. After some time exploring the city, the girls return and have a bath together. That is when the other girls tell Haim it's time to bang Satu. They'd had a deal when they returned to Earth they would finally consummate their love. Haim is more than willing while Satu is not in the mood. Like, is this man okay? Is he missing Prince Mars or something? Like, Haim has her boobs out even when she's wearing regular outfits, and this man is like, nah, I'm too sad to bang right now. More time passes, and Haim and Satu return to school. Haim seems to be loving her time back, but Satu is constantly worried. He cannot stop thinking about what he experienced in Endless, the fantasy land where all that craziness happened. The other girls also get used to living on Earth, but it's clear they miss their home. They do not belong here, and they left their people to die back in Endless. Haim has noticed that Satu sneaks out during night and goes back to where the portal dropped them off. She decides to follow him to see what he is doing. Soon enough, they are both in the woods, and Haim tells Satu to forget about Endless and just move on. Haim says this with tears in her eyes. It's clear she is just coping with this new reality and wants to forget her pain. Satu tries to tell her that this is not the way when suddenly a nearby shrine lights up. A portal opens, and from inside the shrine comes out a girl. Haim and Satu have no idea what is happening, but soon they learn the girl's name is Amber Adonoken. She's basically an android created to resemble the dwarfish princess that died in the past. Amber has the Earth Ring, and she has been sent here for safety reasons. Amber has waited hundreds of years to be found by the Ring King, and now she can give him the final ring. She explains that with the final ring, they can go back to AniWorks and defeat the Lord of Abyss. Haim starts to scream while she cries, and she tells Amber that Satu is not going back there ever again. Amber tells Satu that he can find her whenever he wants. She has waited long enough. She can wait more. Haim and Satu return back home. Satu decides to not tell the girls anything as he is worried about their reaction. Amber has basically said that now they can go back to AniWorks and fight the evil there, but Haim refuses to go. She does not want anyone to be hurt again. A few days go by and Satu keeps going to school like nothing happens. Still, he cannot resist, and he sets up a meeting with Amber. She arrives to the school roof and they talk. Satu explains that he wants to stay to AniWorks. He wants to save the home of Haim, no matter what. Amber tells him that she could open a portal in a few hours, and she gives him the Earth Ring. When Haim gets back home, she notices that Satu has the Earth Ring. At first, she is furious at him and wants to know why he did it. He then tells her that the girls are all suffering here, and that she is suffering. He will do whatever it takes to save the home of the person he loves the most. Haim gets emotional and thanks him. She also remembers their promise to bang when they get back. Both of them get naked really fast and start to make out. Just before things get wild, Amber arrives to inform them that the portal has been opened. Satu once again has blue balls. This man is not meant to get laid. All the girls arrive and they reveal that they heard the entire conversation and they cannot wait to get back home. With the portal now open, Satu and the girls jump in and go back to AniWorks to stop the Lord of Abyss. The group is now back in the fantasy world and things are not looking great. The sky is pitch black and there are dead soldiers all around them. It seems that the Empire has been going to war with the monster army, and they are losing bad. Now with the 5 rings in his hands, it's time that Satu finally finds this Lord of Abyss and takes him down. Amber leads the way, and they go exploring the ruins until they find some sign of life. Suddenly, in the distance they spot an Imperial army fighting an army of monsters, and in the middle of it, all is the Lord of Abyss. He's deflecting all arrows and attacks from the Imperial soldiers. It's like nothing can even touch him. Satu hypes himself up for this final clash, and Haim gives him a kiss to power him up. All the other girls praise him and tell him good luck as he leaps into battle. Using the power of the 5 rings, he is able to send a giant blast at the monster army and nukes them from orbit. He then faces off the Lord of Abyss. The Lord does not seem too worried about Satu. He even teases him for coming back and bringing the 5 rings. Satu then charges up his attacks. This is the ultimate blast. He then sends the blast directly at the Lord of the Abyss. A giant explosion erupts, blinding everyone nearby. All the girls look with wonder, hoping to see that the battle is over. Satu is also praying that he was able to defeat the evil Lord. The smoke clears, and he spots the Lord of Abyss standing there. He is injured but not dead. Satu realizes that his attack has failed. Now it's time for the Lord to attack. Haim is now tearing up as she fears the worst. Damn, maybe Satu should have stayed on Earth and just chilled out. Maybe he is not that guy. Satu is now really in trouble as the Abyss King starts to go on the offensive. He starts to throw Satu like a ragdoll, also summoning dark energy blasts to nuke him. Satu cannot believe that this is happening, and the girls are also shocked. This was never supposed to happen. In the prophecy, it was said that the Ring King would destroy the Abyss Lord with no problems. Burnett does not want to just let Satu die, so she runs in there to protect her beloved, and so do the other girls. They'd all jump in and stand between Satu and the Lord of Abyss. The Dark Lord is very clearly injured, but still he has a lot of power. Haim is worried about Satu and tries to get him to stand up, but he cannot. He slowly starts to fade, but then he notices a giant flying eagle covered in light. Turns out that the old man survived and he has come to the rescue. Okay, is anyone else noticing that this story is just a horny version of Lord of the Rings? Like Pawn the Dark Lord, flying eagles, an old wizard, and rings? Like switch up the Fellowship of the Ring with some hot babes, and it's the same story. Anyways, the group is able to escape to safety. Satu still cannot believe that the old man survived. He also learns that Prince Mars survived the battle as well. The old man reveals that an elf Smaragdi came to their rescue. That is the old man's former lover. She came in right before Mars and the old man were about to die from the monsters. Now the old man wants to lead Satu to his kingdom, the place where Haim was born, the Kingdom of Light. There Satu will regain his strength and get ready for a rematch. Satu feels like a total fail, but the old man tells him that so far his attack is the only one that damaged the Dark Lord, so it's something. The group finally reaches the Kingdom of Light, and they can be safe there for a while. Satu is still curious why his powers did not work, why he only injured the Dark Lord and did not fully destroy him. The old man explains to Satu that in the original stories, the Lord of Abyss never had dark rings with him. He did not attain that power. It seems that by creating those evil knights, he was able to gather even more power than ever before. For that reason, Satu has to train even more, but also his wives have to train. They will need to upgrade their own powers and fight alongside Satu when the time comes. For that reason, this place will become the bride training camp. They will become stronger and ready to fight. Satu decides to take some time and rest in the hot springs. He feels sad that he failed, and he does not know what those blasts did to him. Did the Dark Lord maybe infect him with something? Still, Satu does not get a lot of time alone since Haim joins him. She flirts with him a bit and kisses him. She does tell him that she is waiting for him so that they can bang. Satu has too much on his mind right now to be horny. The following day, Satu and the girls gather to have a meeting with the old man. Satu wants to know when the training will begin and how much the old man will train them in terms of magic powers. Haim's grandfather then reveals that he will not be the one training the girls. It will be Morian, Haim's younger sister. Haim is shocked to see her younger sister since they have not seen each other in almost 10 years. Morian is a very skilled mage, but she does not have a lot of love for her older sister Haim. Haim is too shocked to say anything while Morian just makes fun of her. Morian is very interested in Satu and wants to train him. Haim is nervous around her sister, but still she wants to do her best no matter what. The old man explains that since Morian has many years of training being a mage, she's the perfect person to train this group. In the meantime, the other girls are getting ready to stay in the Kingdom of Light. They'd also want to focus on their training no matter what so that they can help Satu when the time comes. Satu, in the meantime, is a bit surprised that there is no emotional reunion for Morian and Haim. He thought that since they were sisters they were going to hug and all that. Nothing happens between them, and Morian explains that too much time has passed, there are no real emotions there. Haim did reveal in the past that her parents sacrificed themselves to protect her and she had a very hard time leaving her sister behind. She was not even sure she was still alive. When the training is done, Satu returns to his room and all the girls are waiting for him there, and you guessed it, they are all naked. Still, Satu tries to fight them off since he has yet to sleep with Haim. Morian starts off her first lesson with explaining the simple rules of magic and what is needed to activate it. It comes from the deepest parts of the person and the individual has to learn how to summon it to the surface. Morian thinks that Haim is not worthy since for 10 years she basically did no magic and now is just a regular human. Haim is taken to a throne room where a magic spear is located. This is the spear that belonged to her parents and only she can control it. Her grandfather tells her that she must master its power to truly be strong and to fight the Abyss King. Haim tries to grab the spear and activate it, but nothing happens. She tries and tries, but no matter how hard she pulls, the spear is dead. It seems that she is not yet ready since her magic is still not that active. Satu is with her every step of the way. He motivates her to keep trying. Morian is disgusted by those two. Maybe she might be a bit jealous as well. In the meantime, Granette is very interested in testing out Amber and her skills. Amber seems to be an artificial creation, but she has all the functions of a living being, down to her skin and inner organs. Granette is not sure how strong Amber is, so she starts a fight with her. Amber tells her right away that she is way stronger than her, but Granette just keeps coming at her. Finally, Granette tells Amber to test out her real power in combat. Amber in a second gathers a giant heat wave and fires it so hard it creates a giant crater in the ground. Granette realizes that Amber is not to be messed with, and Amber promises that she will always be on the side of Satu and the girls no matter what. Haim continues to train. She really wants to activate that magic staff, but it's not working. One time while training, Satu kisses her and she is able to activate her magic a bit. Morian notices this and tells Haim that she has to do the same thing again to fully activate her magic. It seems that making out with Satu activates that part of her brain. Marian is a bit jealous to see them making out. Haim tries once more and she is still not able to do it, but she is getting better. That day, Satu and Haim meet up. She's wearing a very small outfit and she wants to talk with him. Haim knows that they have to be even more connected so that she can manage to use her own magic. This means they have to do an insane makeout session. Satu is still pretending they are in Catholic school, so he does not want to bang. Haim jumps on him and they start to kiss like a lot. It gets steamy really fast and soon Haim is just in her bra and they are getting even crazier. Haim is all red in the face, but she feels fully charged up. The two of them run into the throne room and Haim is finally ready. She grabs the magic staff and right away it's activated. Haim is so proud of herself. She activated her own magic with nothing but horny energy. The following day, Haim shows off her new powers, and now she can use magic freely. This is the first time she has tapped into that power. Marian is kinda happy for her sister, but she gets emotional and Haim proclaims that she wants to be just like her late parents. Even if Marian wants to be cold towards her sister, she still loves her. The group gets ready for a new journey. Now they are going into the Elf Kingdom to gather even more help. Also, the other girls have been able to activate some of their own magic, also by kissing Satu. Marion joins the group on their journey. The group goes exploring. They have to ride in a wagon for a few days. Satu absolutely hates this. His ass always starts to hurt from all the riding. Not that type of riding, you perverts. Finally, they reach a forest and soon notice something strange. It seems that there are monsters nearby, so they have to be extra careful. Still, all the girls now feel more than ready to fight. They have really trained in their magic so they can fight all these monsters much better. Satu feels a bit strange, but he keeps going. Suddenly, a monster leaps out and attacks the group. All the girls go into battle mode and so does Satu. But something happens to Satu. He at first acts totally normal and fights the monster, but suddenly his body starts to float and his chest turns into an abyss. Satu screams in pain and all the girls are now worried. Haim's grandfather is especially concerned about this situation. Haim uses her staff to defeat the monster, but she is really tired. For the first time, she realizes how difficult it is to use magic in combat. Satu is on the ground and in pain, but then Amber arrives. Using light magic, she is able to put the abyss under control. She then explains to the rest of the group that Satu has been cursed by the Abyss Lord, and now they have to be extra careful. They always have to use light magic to control the curse, but it might get much worse. The girls are able to heal up Satu, but they have to find more answers how to solve his curse. They decide that the best thing they can now do is travel to the Elven Kingdom and go through their libraries. Nephrite explains that the elves have much knowledge, and they will have some secret answers on how to defeat the Abyss King. After traveling for a few more days, they finally reach the kingdom. They are welcomed by a few arrows from the local elf guards, but soon they are let inside. Very quickly, the group learns that Nephrite's brother has lost his mind since she has been gone. He misses her so much that he has convinced himself she is locked inside of her room. So when the real Nephrite arrives, her brother totally freaks out. Still, he welcomes the group and wants to help them. Satu and the rest of the girls explain that they have to visit the Elven Library to find out more about the Lord of Abyss. Also, they have to hurry until the Abyss monsters come. They are yet to attack the Elven capital, so they have to hurry. Nephrite's brother explains that he cannot allow passage in the library as that is sacred grounds and they have to talk to the Elder of the nation. You remember the Elder, that big-titty elven woman who saves Satu from prison? Well, she waits for Satu and the girls. She also rejects their offer since it's not a good idea. She is worried about what will happen when the group learns the real truth about the previous Ring King. Satu and the girls convince the Elder, and she finally takes them down the dungeons. They travel for what seems like hours before reaching an ancient door. When they open the door, they notice a hand in the middle of the room and a thumb. The Elder realizes that Satu now has only one ring, and after he tells her about the voice he has heard, the Elder is now worried. Much has changed, and it's time that they learn the truth. The Elder thinks that it's time to tell Satu and the girls what happened to the previous Ring King. She basically reveals that she was once a ring princess, destined to marry the Ring King. The story came a long time ago in ancient times. Suddenly, in the northern parts of the world, the Abyss showed up, a corrupt darkness that created mindless monsters. Soldiers from all over the kingdom gathered to fight this dark abyss. The more time passed, the more monsters the Abyss created. Still, these were just mindless creatures that soldiers could defeat. Then one day the Abyss got a king, a ruler clad in dark robes. He came from an unknown place, and he became the master of the Abyss, the Lord of Abyss. Now the mindless monsters were his soldiers, and he formed armies. They spread all over the land like a plague. At that same time, a mysterious hero showed up. He had a ring of power that he used in battle against the monsters. Very soon, the legend of the Ring King spread. He was the last hope of the people. He fought the demons and traveled all over the land. He went to each kingdom and picked a bride that would create a new ring. He basically just went to battles and banged his brides over and over again. As time went on, he started to lose control. He was controlling, obsessed. He just wanted to sleep with his brides over and over again and take their power to boost his own. He was able to defeat much of the forces of the Abyss, and soon the monsters were running away. To the brides, it became clear that the Ring King would soon become the new tyrant of this land. He was losing his mind. Then they found out about his origin. He was just a simple farmer who found a ring in a field. He was not some hero from legend, but a normal man with too much power. The brides had no choice but to cut off his hand and stop his rampage. In the present, the Elder concludes her story and leaves Satu and the girls to think about what she just said. This basically flipped their entire world upside down. Being the Ring King is actually not that great, and it's very dangerous. The group is now shocked and cannot believe what they just learned about the rings. Basically, the ring is more of a curse than some failed heroic weapon. Still, some of the girls think that they should stand beside Satu no matter what. Satu now needs some time to think about everything. He feels weird about using the ring and also being married to all the girls. He does not want to become like the old Ring King, but he also does not know what will happen if he keeps using the power. He once more enters the room where the hand of the old Ring King is located. Suddenly, he once more hears that voice that helped him in the past. The Ring King's hand is activated and it comes flying towards Satu. In that moment, Satu activates his ring and absorbs the hand. Now he realizes that the voice he keeps hearing is from the original Ring King. It is the last remaining power that he had, and now it's inside of Satu. The original Ring King promises to protect Satu, but also he warns him about his future. Basically, the Ring King is still angry at his brides, and he is certain that Satu will also be betrayed by his own brides. Satu now has to act like nothing is happening so that the rest of the girls are not worried. They try to exit the giant elf library, but the elder keeps them inside. She has one last mission for them before they can leave. Satu and his girls enter a dungeon, but this is not like a Skyrim dungeon. Now this is more Pornhub dungeon. The elder seems to be very horny, and she set up an entire room for sex. Like some of the girls notice strangely shaped objects all over the table, but they do not figure out what those objects are. Hint, hint, they ain't swords. There is also a giant bed in the middle of the room. Satu and the girls have no idea what is the meaning behind this, but soon the elder reveals it. Satu has to become stronger. He has to mate with his wives and gain power. There is no more waiting. Now is the time for him to bang and bang. Satu rejects this cause. Of course, he would reject it. The elder tells him that if he does not upgrade his powers by banging the girls, the door to the library will never open and they will be trapped down here forever. Satu is now in bed waiting for the girls. They will all have some alone time with him. All the girls pick a straw, and the last one is Haim. She has to wait until all the other girls smash Satu. Finally, Ember enters the room and she is totally naked. She starts to tell Satu that while she is artificial, she has everything needed to make a baby and to give him pleasure. Satu starts to blush, but once again he rejects her. He explains that Haim is the only girl for him and he must wait. Amber respects this and leaves. After her, the dragon princess Masa. She dislikes Satu, but still explains that she will have sex with him if that means they win against the Abyss Lord. Satu starts to roast her appearance and tells her that she looks too much like a child, so they cannot sleep together. Princess Masa gets furious and tells him that they will sleep together one day. After she leaves, it's now time for Nephrite. Nephrite promises Haim that she will not do anything dirty, but when she sits down next to Satu, it's hard to control herself. They start to make out a lot, but they do not go all the way. Satu is still in the room, and now it's Granat's turn. We all know how insane and horny that cat girl really is. The moment she gets into the room, she's totally naked and jumping all over the bed. Satu has to literally run from her. Granat tells him that it's time he gives her some of his fluids and that he should not just focus on Haim. Satu tries to fight back even when she puts her literal boobs on his head. Oh, it's Satu. Okay, why is this man rejecting all these hot girls? What is happening? Granat snaps and tells him that he has to give her some love. She feels useless since she does not know magic. She wants to be useful in bed at least. Satu explains that she is the strongest warrior they have and she is constantly saving his ass. Still, he wants to give her some romance, so he touches her neck sensually. This makes her freak out and totally blush. She was not expecting that at all. Now it's finally time for Haim. She comes in the room wearing the sluttiest outfit you can imagine. She also has a tattoo above her crotch. This is to prevent them from having babies when they are having lots and lots of sex. Satu is now beyond horny, and he jumps on her the moment he gets a chance. Suddenly, it's revealed that the elder is a weirdo who is spying on them. This totally nukes the mood as Satu does not feel comfortable. Soon after, the other girls also invade the room totally naked. They want Satu to finally smash, but using his power, he rejects them all. He starts to talk about some idiot fantasy where a real wife is then living in a house with a family. He is very traditional, and he is not down to just smash. Basically, he's a total loser. The elder tells him that they are not going anywhere until they smash. Later in the day, Nephrite and Granat explore the library, and Nephrite learns that maybe a cat girl like Granat could actually learn magic. Time passes. Actually, a week goes by, and our group is still in the basement of the Elfish library. Satu has tried many times to use his ring to open the doors, but it's too weak. He has to sleep and bang the girls, but he won't do it. Mind you, if he did it, not only would he have sex with super hot girls, but he would be free, and they could continue saving the world. But no, bro. Is like, no, this is not the way, and because of that, they are stuck. After just a few days, the girls get used to living in the basement. It's a giant place since it was built in ancient times by the elves. They have a lot of food, supplies, and whatever else they need. Granat and Nephrite have been training magic. Nephrite, being an elf, already has insane powers, but Granat is still struggling. She really wants to use magic, but she is afraid that her kind just isn't worthy. In the meantime, Haim is beyond horny since she is still thinking about banging Satu. He, on the other hand, is trying to open the doors over and over again while being a total idiot. Marion at one point says what we are all thinking. Like, bro, you even like girls. Satu answers that he loves girls while he loves Haim, but this is not the right way. His explanation is that he would be using her. He really does not want to become like the old Ring King. My guy who will not get a chance to be that type of guy since you are afraid to even touch the girls. Marion and Satu talk more and she starts to get all hot and bothered, so she eventually kisses him. We might be adding another girl to the totally sexless harem. One more girl that Satu can reject all the time while promising to bang Haim, but never actually banging her. We find Haim in her room and she is totally naked. She's getting a bit spicy. She starts to touch herself, but soon Satu arrives and of course ruins the mood. It's very clear that Haim is horny, but Satu just acts like a good church boy and rejects her advances. Then Marion reveals something insane to Haim, that anti-pregnancy spell she put on her. Yeah, that only works like 60% of the time. Basically, if Haim and Satu did have sex, there would be a very good chance of her getting pregnant. Haim is now furious, and she gets into an argument with her sister about this. Marion seems to not be taking it that seriously as she laughs at this entire situation. Satu realizes that they have to get out of this situation, but since he is acting all stupid, they have to find another way. The girls start to examine the giant library in the hopes of finding an exit. Amber does reveal that she feels a magic gap in the doors. Maybe there is a way out. They just have to find it. In the meantime, Nephrite and Granat are also searching the library. At some point, they spot some black liquid coming down from the walls. They think that it might be connected to the Abyss, when it should not be possible. How would Abyss energy get into a secure location as this? Granat is also very impressed with the magic abilities that Nephrite has been able to develop. Nephrite motivates Granat to keep training and not be afraid. Granat admits that she does not want to end up like her mother, who was cruel and distant and also afraid. While they are talking suddenly, they notice something giant up above their heads, a sinister black spider monster. Granat and Nephrite start to fight this giant monster, but it's way too strong. It seems that the Abyss has created a spider creature and somehow it got into the elf library. Now the other girls arrive and so does Satu. This is a team battle and they have to take down the monster as fast as possible. They all leap into battle, everyone using their own type of magic to take down the beast as fast as possible. Granat is trying to cut it down, but the beast just keeps deflecting her hits, and also it seems that swords do not do any damage on the creature. Sasur tries using his ring, but the spider is too strong, even for him. Suddenly, the spider decides to use its web, and it captures both Satu and Granat. They are now super close to each other, and they cannot escape the monster. The other girls try attacking the spider with everything they have, but it's not working. Then Granat realizes something. Every time Satu touches her, fire inside her burns. It might just be her magic. At first, Granat thought it was just her being horny, but now she realizes that if Satu kisses her and is intimate with her, she will activate her powers. In that moment, Satu is still conflicted cause he does not want to cheat on Haim. Like, bro, let it go. If you don't do it, you will just be spider fruit at this point. Haim then screams at Satu and tells him it's okay. She also wants to survive this battle. In that moment, Satu kisses Granat, and then it happens. A fire is activated and Granat wakes up her magic. It seems that she has fire magic inside of her, and now she is able to knock out the spider with no problems. The entire group joins her, and they are able to finally defeat the spider monster. After defeating the spider, Haim decides to organize a sleepover to talk with the girls. There she tells them that she does not want to be number one anymore. She feels like she is holding the entire group back. She wants to find out how all the girls truly feel about Satu. All the girls start talking about him, and it's clear that they all have feelings for him. Haim realizes this, and she does not want them to hold back anymore. They are all his brides. While this convo is happening, Satu is outside trying to hear what is happening, but Marion is stopping him from entering the room. Haim also starts a new competition. She will try to please Satu the best, and the other girls should try to do the same. Basically, she started a throat goat competition. The girls unite, and actually the friendship grows so much it activates the ring. The following day, Satu feels an insane power boost, and he finally blasts open the doors. The elder is surprised they made it out, and she is also shocked to learn that the girls developed their friendship, and that gave the ring its powers. The group is now out of the library, and they report back to the elder that there are spots of the abyss inside. This might be dangerous, and in the future it might allow the dark abyss energy to create more monsters down there. Nephrite comes up with a great idea. They should all go down there and clean up the library. Satu and the rest of the girls agree, and they start the process of cleaning. They have to find all the spots of abyss energy and get rid of it. Granat, in the meantime, feels much better at this point since she has activated her magic. Also, she feels love for the first time. She keeps thinking about Satu in the romantic sense. This is all new to her since she has been a warrior her entire life. After a hard day of cleaning, they are done, and finally it's time to reunite with the old man. Where has he been this entire time? Well, remember that lady elf friend he had, that long-lost love? Well, she gave him some potion and banged his brains out in a cave for days. The old man is traumatized. Unlike Satu, he actually had sex over these past few days. Finally, the group is now all gathered. They get on top an eagle and fly to the Empire. It's time to find the sword of the previous Ring King, and that item is being held by the Empire. Soon after, the group arrives at the Empire, and it's a huge place. The walls are giant, and there must be millions of people living there. The group thinks that they are safe to approach, but soon arrows start flying. It seems that the Empire has very strict security around its walls. Satu and his friends land the eagle, and they are able to enter the city when they are welcomed by Mars's older brother. They explore the giant city and see hundreds of people in the streets. The people are curious about the girls and about Satu. It seems that his Ring King legend has spread all over the place. After a walk through the city, it's time to meet the Emperor. Now this dude has major insane vibes. He basically looks like a villain, and we know that he has been working with the Abyss. The Emperor is very cruel and rude to everyone, especially Satu. Satu and the old man ask the Emperor about the sword, but the Emperor rejects their idea. He even threatens to take the ring for himself and ends Satu. Satu is scared out of his mind. It's very clear the Emperor is a lunatic. Since Plan F failed, it's time to go for Plan B. Since the Emperor won't give them the sword, they have to steal it. Satu is reunited with his true love, Prince Mars. These dudes have more chemistry than Satu has with all the girls. The moment they spot each other, they are like, "Yo, bro, I missed you," while locking eyes with passion. Anyway, Mars decides to help the girls out. He will take them to a very important location underground, where they can train in magic and become way stronger than before. Satu stays on the surface and distracts the nearby guards. In the meantime, Mars leads the girls inside a giant dungeon. It seems to be a place built many years ago, and there are even magical giants all around the place. Finally, they reach a castle of some sort. This is the place where Haim's and Marian's parents train their magic. Marian has been training here for the past 10 years, and now it's time for Haim to start the process. Haim knows that she has to help Satu in the future battle, so she decides to work extra hard to learn magic. There are a few old ladies that act as teachers for her. Renat is also there, and she is having a hard time training. She is actually being trained by another cat lady with magic powers. Renat has been using swords her entire life, so now training with fire magic is totally new for her. In the meantime, Haim has to do various training sessions to connect with her magic. She goes into a dark room and has visions of her past. She sees her mother and father, right before they sacrificed their lives to save her. This is all difficult for Haim to experience once again, but the old teacher explains to her that this is the only way she can improve her magic. Also, Haim really misses Satu, even if they have been apart for a solid day. The old lady even notices that Haim is blushing whenever she is thinking about Satu. Later in the day, Haim and Marian talk alone. It's the first time since Haim has returned that she is able to connect with her sister. Marian admires her sister and her determination. She also likes having Haim around and training with her. As time passes, Haim does not feel happy with her training. While the other girls are improving her skills, she feels like she is too slow. Also, she misses Satu and feels like she is going to disappoint him. Suddenly, she is confronted by a lady cloaked in a long cape. This lady reveals herself and tells Haim she can help her with her magic. Haim does not know this lady, but she seems familiar and safe for some reason. The lady comes closer to Haim and talks about her love for Satu and how the magic is all around her. Then the lady turns into light particles, and Haim seems to be much stronger now. When she returns to train, she is now more powerful and can do more insane moves. Her teacher is very impressed. Before that, Marian and the teacher talked about being too harsh on Haim while training. Marian wanted the teacher to hold back and be nicer to Haim. Now the teacher is beyond impressed since Haim is doing so well in her practice. Yeah, this does not seem to be good at all. Something is fishy with that magic lady. While that is happening, Satu talks with Prince Mars. They have a plan to get into the armory of the Empire and find the legendary sword there. Mars wears a mask that barely covers his face, so Satu is not really confident in his stealth abilities. Also, we learn that Mars might be a baby daddy very soon. Amber has a genius plan of how to get inside of the armory, but she will need the help of the Dragon Princess. Satu and Mars decide to sneak in while the Dragon Princess turns into a dragon to distract the nearby crowd in the town. The Emperor notices the dragon and right away thinks that something is happening. In the meantime, Satu and Mars are able to fight out the giant magic guards, and they finally get into the armory. Now this place seems to be ancient. There are so many legendary items and weapons there. Still, their plan has failed pretty quickly since the Emperor suddenly shows up. Of course he knew what they were planning. Mars tries to reason with his father, and so does Satu. The Emperor is impressed with the plan they pulled off, so he tells Satu that since he is a worthy Ring King, he can take whatever he wants in this place. Satsu was surprised by the change of tone, and then the Emperor decides to give him a tour of the armory. They go all around the place, seeing various items that are connected to the Abyss and other legendary warriors. Soon they enter a room where the sword of the Ring King is located. The sword is old, damaged, and covered in rust. It really does not look like something from Legends. Satsu then notices another sword. This one belonged to the Light Kingdom and to the Heims family. The Emperor explains that they were great protectors of the realm, and with their dying breaths they fought against the Abyss. Satsu asks the Emperor if he can take that sword. Satsu really wants to give it to Heim. Marion is super proud of Heim and her hard work, but she has been acting rather odd. Marion decides to see what Heim is doing in her spare time. That is when she sees it. She sees Heim talking to a dark spot, a dark energy. Marion is freaked out and decides to run to tell the teacher. In the meantime, we see Heim's Pav. She has been totally tricked by the darkness from the Abyss. She only sees that nice lady who is helping her with her magic. She does not have any idea that this lady is actually the Abyss. Finally, the darkness decides to help Heim gain even more power by corrupting her light and turning it into darkness. While that is happening, Satsu and his group are now done with the item collection, and they decide to reunite with the girls. They are about to run into a total mess. Marion and the teachers try to stop Heim, but it's too late. Her body has been filled by the darkness and she transforms. Now she has a totally sinister but also super hot outfit, and she seems evil. She then starts to terraform the entire castle and changes it into her fortress. Satsu and the others arrive just in time to learn what has happened with Heim. Satsu tries to enter the giant fortress in the air, but suddenly he has a strange vision. He sees that Heim is waiting for him on the bed, but nothing more. Suddenly, he is thrown back to the ground. Marion then tells him that he just went inside without thinking. Marion tried that same tactic and got stuck in a loop of hallways. It seems that Heim has created a magical fortress, and basically entering it is entering her own heart and mind. It's filled with traps, and Satsu seems to have failed the test. Satsu is now really worried, and he needs to think about the next step. Well, he does not have much time to think since the Abyss suddenly starts to open all around this place. Giant monsters and demonic soldiers come crashing down. The girls tell Satsu that he needs to hurry and get Heim back. They will fight the monsters until he returns. Satsu thanks them and wishes them luck. He then once more enters the giant fortress. Then he enters an illusion and spots Heim in a dress. She is lovely and tells him that she has been waiting for him for a long time. In that moment, Satsu realizes that this is not the real Heim and moves forward inside of the illusion. While Satsu is trying to find Heim in the giant illusion, outside the girls are having a hell of a time. There are countless monsters all over the place and they are crazy. Burnett now has to use her insane warrior powers as well as her fire magic. Nephrite also has to use all the magic she has learned thus far. Amber finally gets a moment to flex her insane Dragon Ball. Like powers, like the girl just starts to nuke monsters from orbit. Like Goku, it's wild. The battle is crazy and the girls are trying to hold on as long as possible. In the meantime, Satsu is marching forward, trying to find Heim as fast as possible, but he has to be careful so that he is not kicked out of the fortress. After some time, he finds a door and opens it. There he finds Heim in her most slutty form. She's wearing a very revealing outfit and tells him she has been waiting for him. Satsu, of course, cannot resist and just jumps on her. This is like the 15th time this man has jumped on her, and every time he fails to seal the deal. In a moment of passion, Satsu tells Heim that she is needed in the real world and that he is always there for her. Heim starts to get angry at him, telling him how she never felt loved and how he left her. This creates another illusion where Satsu sees the moment he originally met Heim, her telling him that they will become best friends. The illusions keep getting wilder and wilder. Soon after that, Satsu is back on Earth with Heim, and they are regular high school students once more. For Satsu, this is strange, and he remembers that time as the best time of his life. Still, he knows the truth. He knows that they have other duties now, and that Heim has to snap out of this illusion. Heim still presses on with various different variations, and soon Satsu finds the real Heim. This Heim is now covered in a dark armor, and she has dark, almost dead eyes. Satsu realizes that this is his Heim, but she is now infected. Heim starts to cry and offers Satsu every version of her, and tells her to choose. Satsu tells her that there is only one version of her that he loves, her true self. Satsu then hugs Heim in the hopes of finally bringing her back. Well, that plan does not go really well. Suddenly, a dark energy starts to swallow Satsu and Heim hugs him, but it does not seem to be a hug of love. Suddenly, they are consumed by a dark armor, and now it's Heim and Satsu inside a dark void with no life. In that moment, Satsu realizes that he is now also trapped in this illusion and Heim has lost all sense of herself. The group outside is starting to panic. It seems that Satsu is now trapped inside and there is no more light coming from him. This allows the Abyss to summon even more monsters since the Ring King is gone. Suddenly, a giant monster appears, and it marches towards the Imperial forces and towards the girls. Haim's grandfather is worried that Satu might have failed his mission. In the meantime, Satu wakes up in total darkness and Haim is by his side, also totally naked. She explains to him that she just wanted to be loved by him and she was so afraid for such a long time. She was afraid that the other girls would take him away, that he would die in combat. Now they do not have to worry about anything. They are alone in the peaceful darkness. This pisses off Satu and he starts to scream at Dark Haim. He tells her that this is not real life and that they will never be happy again if they stay here. They will not have a family, a house, or any other moments of joy. They have to snap out of this and save the others. Dark Haim once again tries to keep Satu in this realm, but Satu tells her that when they get done with this, he will take her to bed finally. Dude has had enough. Haim was so horny and frustrated that she turned evil. No more, says Satu. She's getting that fluid right away. Dark Haim starts to blush right away, and Satu demands that they make a promise to each other to always love and move forward together. Haim finally snaps out of the trance and shakes his hand. Suddenly, a giant light erupts and it's so blinding nobody can see anything. In that moment, Satu and Haim spawn in, and now Haim is wearing a badass light armor. Together, they hold hands and using a special sword, they slash all the monsters with no problem. Haim and Satu are now back in a big way. All the girls below are losing their minds since they are so happy. Suddenly, a bright light covers Haim and Satu, and they are transported to a totally normal room. Satu soon realizes that this room is his own room back on Earth. Haim explains that she created it by using her magic and they have all the time in the world here. Haim and Satu sit together in the bed and she explains that she always imagined losing her virginity in his room, so she made a special place for them. Satu, my man, you cannot dodge this anymore, it's time. Satu finally kisses Haim and they start getting heated very fast. Outside, the girls and Haim's grandfather realize that something is going on inside the light. The girls still have no idea, but the old man knows that Satu is about to bang Haim. The magic teacher lady also smirks as she figures out what is taking them so long. In the meantime, Haim and Satu are now totally naked in bed and they start smashing like their lives depend on it. As they continue making love, the light keeps shining even more brightly. This goes on for hours and hours. Still, all the armies and people are down there waiting for them while they smash over and over again. Satu and Haim are now in bed and they are beyond tired. Satu fell asleep since he was so tired. He starts to make fun of Haim for being so horny. He even tells her that her Dark Haim form was also horny and lewd. Haim is embarrassed, but girl does not deny the allegations. She isn't ever beating the horny allegations. Finally, the two of them exit the light, and they are reunited with the rest of the group. The other girls notice pretty soon what happened, and they start to tease both of them. Renat also wants to smash Satu now that Haim has finally done it, but Nephrite tells her to chill out for the time being. The old man announces that the Imperial armies have started to march to fight the Abyss King, and they have to join the fight. Satu now has insane power, and so does Haim. Satu tells the other girls that it's time to finally finish this battle once and for all. The following morning, the cat girls also arrive to join the battle. Basically, all the kingdoms are coming together to finally take down the Lord of Abyss. Satu breathes in deeply as he gets ready for his final mission. This is it. He has reached the end of his adventure. The cat girls take Satu and his group with them. They are now all traveling together towards their final battle. The King of the Abyss waits for them at the edge of the world. In the meantime, the other girls are all training and getting ready for the final battle. Mars has also joined the group, and we find out that Saphira really is pregnant. Mars still wants to join the fight no matter what and help the fighters take down the King of the Abyss. Satu, of course, cannot stop him from joining, but he is worried about Saphira's child being left without a father. Satu later talks with the old man, and he tells him to spend as much time with Haim as possible. He has to get his power levels up before the fight with the Lord of Abyss. Haim talks with the other girls while they take a bath, and of course they all want to know how Satu was in bed. Haim is shy about it all, but she is also ready for another few rounds with him. The rest of the girls are especially interested in Haim and Satu. The two of them have barely had any time together, and it's a bit hard to find a quiet place in the Fire Nation city. They try to find a quiet place, and finally they reach a location where they can see the sunset, and they can talk. They talk about their journey so far, and Satu thinks that it's all going to end very soon. They will finally have peace. He also tells Haim that before he was worried about her getting pregnant, but now seeing Mars being so happy with Saphira, he would also like a child with Haim. Haim is of course super happy about this, and they decide to go to bed and smash once more like rabbits. Renat and Nephrite spot them in bed, and they get all horny and bothered. Renat then goes to train with Amber. She wants to be super strong for the upcoming war. In the meantime, we see the Lord of Abyss sitting on his throne. That lady that tried to infect Haim is there as well. She tells him that the armies of all the kingdoms are coming. The Lord of the Abyss remains calm and ready for the upcoming battle. Mars is reunited with his brother and the Imperial armies also join the war efforts. Now there are countless soldiers all marching toward the Abyss. This is a giant operation, but before that, everyone kinda chills and relaxes. Everyone has fun and enjoys their final moments of peace and quiet before the battle. The dragon people also join the armies as they want to help out. Basically, all the kingdoms are now united against the Lord of Abyss. Haim and Satu, of course, continue to spend quality time together, like they are just rabbits at this point. Eventually, the day arrives, but first Amber will lead the group into the dwarven mines, find her true powers. They all follow Amber as they travel deep into the mines. They see many ancient ruins in places where the dwarves used to live. Amber really wants to find out more about herself, so she rushes towards the answers. Sasu and the girls follow her as she is part of their little family. They travel deep in the mountains. This is also their secret plan. While the other armies march on the Abyss realm, Satu and his team will enter quietly so they cannot alarm any of the monsters nearby. Soon they reach the deepest part of the dwarven city and find a whole other location. Amber is more and more excited, and soon enough the group reaches a giant door. When this door opens, there is a giant statue of a woman in the middle of the room. This woman is a spirit of the ancient past of the dwarves. Amber talks with her, and the woman explains that Amber is the last piece of the dwarf legacy and she was created to be perfect and to continue their dynasty. She also has a choice to be much better than the dwarves before her and to make sure the future is bright for her kind. Amber then gets a cool power-up, and just before she leaves, she asks the woman who she truly is. We do not see the answer, but Amber leaves that room much happier than before. She thanks the group for being by her side and also tells Satu that she wants to have his child to rebuild her people. She then looks at Haim and tells her she's going to help with the child-making process. Okay, what? Soon enough, the group reaches the border of the Abyss realm. Tomorrow they go in and the final battle begins. The old man tells Satu to get ready and charge his batteries for tomorrow before leaving. Satu is now faced with all his girls and he wants to know how they are feeling. Haim is of course already horny and thinking about them having a group orgy. Satu is much more calm than her and he asks every individual girl how they are feeling before this final battle. Nefertiti explains that she feels very grateful for traveling with the group and that she has loved every moment of their grand adventure. She then kisses Satu. Granat also comes up to him and thanks him for everything. She loves being his warrior bride. Granat kisses Satu, as barely able to control herself from banging him right there. Princess Masa gives him a peck on the face. She's still not ready to admit her feelings, but she tells him that he is never boring. She likes being around him. Soon the girls leave Haim and Satu alone to power up. Haim and Satu once again confirm their love for each other, and then they start to make love, and they love the entire night. The following day, the entire group is ready, and they step into the Abyss realm. They see a giant fortress in the distance, a pitch-black sky, and monsters all around them. The final battle has truly begun. There is a giant army of monsters marching towards our heroes, but they are brave and they stand tall. Satu orders them to charge in, and they all leap into battle. Satu now has insane powers, so does Haim and the other girls. They just start defeating the monsters with no problems. Amber especially has insane blasts that just take out monsters with no problem. Prince Mars and the old man are also there, and they are fighting with everything they have. During the brutal battle, Amber summons a giant dwarf golem, and it also joins the fight. They start knocking out monsters left and right. Haim is using her light magic and clearing the way. Sasu is also leaping into action with his ring fully powered and his sword of light. Finally, they enter the main fortress while the other armies and kingdoms also invade the realm of the Abyss. Sasu and his girls now spot the Lord of the Abyss, and he is sitting down on his throne. He is not alone, due around him we see his knights, and they all look like the original Ring King's brides. I think at this point it's pretty obvious who the Lord of the Abyss really is. Sasu challenges the Lord of Abyss for a final fight. The Lord chuckles at him and tells him that this is futile. His wife will betray him at some point, and he will be left alone and broken. Yeah, guys, at this point it's just obvious this dude is the Ring King from the past. Sasu, of course, ignores these warnings and leaps into battle. He has faith in his wives. The Lord of the Abyss sends his knights after the wives, and he fights Satu one-on-one. The fighting is brutal, and all the ladies have to go to the max to survive against these powerful warriors. Granat right away realizes that she's fighting a cat lady with powerful fire magic. Basically, all the ladies are fighting evil mirror version of themselves. Han is facing off against the lady who tried to poison her soul before. Princess Masa is fighting an evil dragon lady. Amber is fighting the princess of the dwarves, and Nephrite is fighting an elf mage. In the meantime, Satu is going hard with the Lord of the Abyss. The battles on all sides are insane. Prince Mars joins Satu to watch his back while he fights the Lord of the Abyss. Satu leaps into battle and he clashes swords with the Lord of the Abyss. There is powerful and destructive magic everywhere in the air. The girls are also going all out by using their forces to fight the evil knights. Finally, Satu is able to deliver a pretty solid blow against the Lord of the Abyss, and his mask slips away. Then comes the not-so-shocking reveal. The first Ring King is actually the Lord of the Abyss. After losing his powers and getting betrayed by his brides, the Ring King combined his energy with the evil Abyss, and now he's a hollow of a man. He is angry and he just wants to destroy everything. He constantly tries to convince Satu that his brides will turn against him and ruin him just like what happened to him. Satu does not believe this for 1 second, and once more attacks the fallen Ring King. Suddenly, an Abyss curse is activated and Satu cannot move. It seems that the evil Lord of the Abyss has one last trick up his sleeve. Soon after, Satu is swallowed by this dark abyss, and he is totally gone now. Everything is now crashing around the girls. It seems that Satu and his light is gone. In that moment, the old man realizes that the Lord of the Abyss made a giant mistake. He put himself and Saito into a vulnerable position where they can now be sealed away. Haim's grandfather tells the girls that maybe they should seal him away. Satu will also be lost, but the great evil be defeated. The girls, of course, do not agree with that. They do not want to lose Satu. In the meantime, we see Haim facing off that lady and she learns about her origins. She was a bride who truly loved the previous Ring King. She promised to always be by his side, and now she is here, serving his evil. Haim realizes that Satu is in big trouble as the darkness starts to consume him. In the meantime, the Lord of the Abyss tells Satu that his fight is futile. The Abyss is what created the entire universe, even Earth. It is the darkness that gave birth to life itself, and it yearns to swallow the life it created. The Lord of the Abyss is just serving its true purpose, to allow everything to be swallowed by the dark. Satu starts to feel his body falling apart. He is getting consumed by the true power of the Abyss. Outside, the girls are telling the old man to hold off on the sealing process. They notice that the Imperial armies, the elves and the dragons have all arrived to fight by their side. At that moment, the old man realizes that Satu has much bigger powers than just the ring. He united the entire kingdom. The old man cannot leave him to die. He has to help fight. He goes out there and joins the others in the final fight to destroy the monsters. As Satu is getting consumed, the darkness finally eats away at him, and he is terrified as he feels himself losing. The Lord of the Abyss explains that it's futile to fight it, and he just needs to accept his fate. Haim sees flashes of what happened to that bride that remained by the side of the Ring King. She truly loved him, but he turned to be cruel and lost. Even when he was banished, she still searched for him. Haim starts to gather her power. Her light is starting to take over the shadows all around. Satu, in the meantime, is now totally gone. Only his ring remains. At this moment, it seems like he is lost forever, but his girl Haim is not done. Haim starts to power up. Her light is shining so bright it's blinding to all the shadows around them. She is truly summoning her real powers. She then demands to find Satu right away and starts to destroy the Abyss. Satu feels himself floating in the deep darkness, but suddenly he spots a light coming at him. It's Haim. Haim grabs Satu by the hand and once again returns him to the living world. The two lovers are now reunited and their powers are insane. The Lord of the Abyss does not understand what is happening. This should not be real. He tells Haim that she is only a bride that is supposed to serve the ring. Oh, but Haim is a horny lunatic, and she's going after you now. Your ass is grass. Haim starts to blast the Lord of the Abyss with her light, and soon Satu joins her in a final Kamehameha-style attack. They summon all the powers they have and create a perfect beam of pure light and love. This hits the Lord of the Abyss, and he feels himself losing the battle. Suddenly, he is in a white room, and that bride that always loved him comes for him. She tells him that he has fought for long enough, and it's time he finds some peace. Suddenly, the Abyss starts to turn into a giant ball of light, and everything in the Abyss realm is now crashing down. The monsters all vanish into thin air, and the Lord of the Abyss is finally defeated. Satu is super tired from using so much magic. Haim is right by his side when the other girls spot them. They are all super happy as they realize that the big war is finally over. In that moment, a dark sky once more appears. It seems that the Primal Abyss is still not done. While the Ring King who became the Lord of the Abyss is now destroyed, the original dark energy is still there. Everyone starts to panic, but Satu has a plan. He tells all the girls to join hands and give him his power. They all combine their magic and warrior force and create a shining star of pure energy. This is then sent to the Abyss, and once and for all it clears it. Now the battle is finally over, and for Satu, that means he can finally sleep for hours and hours. The Emperor and the other rulers of various kingdoms cannot believe that this dorky high school kid saved their world. Satu wakes up after a long time sleeping, and he is woken up in literal heaven. Just 5 totally naked girls all over him. When he collapsed, the girls wanted to make him feel better, so they jumped all over him and slept naked with him to make him regain his strength. Satu is living the dream with every dude and some ladies, of course. Soon he is interrupted by the royal guards who tell him it's time for the king's ceremony. Oh yeah, Satu kind of forgot that he is now the king of this whole land. Satu dresses up in a fancy uniform and the girls are all dressed up in crazy dresses. They then walk in front of the entire kingdom as the people celebrate their victory. Satu kisses Haim as they finally have everything they have wanted. Still, there is a part of Satu that is worried. He realizes that the emperor is already creating plans to make problems for him. Also, the other kings and lords are speaking behind his back. While Satu wants to save this world, he is just a high school kid who wants to enjoy life. He does not think he should be the king of the realm. One night, Haim visits his room and they decide to leave for their honeymoon. They leave a note for the entire kingdom and vanish. Some time has passed and Satu and Haim are now living on Earth, enjoying a relaxing life. Haim is cooking and cleaning. She is just loving every day she can spend with her husband Satu. This is all she ever wanted, so she is beyond happy. Satu, on the other hand, is also over the moon. He does not have to deal with the politics back in the fantasy world, and for the time being, he can just relax. Also, the girls are with them. They cannot stay away, even while Haim and Satu were on their honeymoon. The girls have now moved in, and they are loving it there. They love Haim cooking for them, and they love spending time with Satu. Satu does have to study with Marion a lot since he wants to get ready for politics when he returns as king. Still, he likes to have as much free time as possible. Life is good for our boy, and it finally seems his troubles are over. The girls decide to move in with Satu in his building and stay on Earth. It's exciting for them, and they want to fit in this new environment. They are tired of their old fantasy world, and they just want to cause some chaos on Earth for a bit. Nephrite is really in love with Satu and tries to spend any moment she can with him. Haim admits while they lay in bed that she's a bit jealous, but also she understands it since Satu is so amazing. Of course, at this point, Satu is just a man suffering from success. Like 5 super hot fantasy girls want to bone him at every point, and he is just chilling. Satu comes up with the idea that all of the girls and he should go on a trip. They have been living together for quite some time in that old apartment complex, so it's time to have some fun. Of course, all the girls are super hyped as they get ready for the trip. For Haim, this is just another amazing chance to spend time with Satu. Satu and the girls travel by plane to an exotic location. The girls are all very excited. They right away get new kimono outfits and go crazy on the town while exploring. Nephrite also admits to the other girls that she has decided to seduce Satu on this trip. This is her real chance and she will take it. There is one problem, and that is Haim, but we will get to that later. Nephrite is determined to seduce Satu on this trip. She even talks with Granat about it. Granat is a bit shy about the entire situation while Nephrite is on the hunt. Girl is determined. No matter what, she is going to fully begin her relationship with Satu. She has waited long enough. Haim and Nephrite have a moment of tension while watching the sunset. Haim has sensed that something is going on and that Nephrite is for sure making a move on her man. The girls all have fun on their trip. Haim is a bit nervous around Nephrite since it's obvious that the girl wants to seduce Satu at this point. Finally, they have a moment alone with those 2 girls. They are both totally naked in the hot spring talking about Satu. Nephrite explains that she truly loves him. He changed her life forever and made her a better person. This will not change and she needs Haim to understand. Haim, of course, feels a bit frustrated by this, but still she feels that Nephrite has very real feelings for Satu. Finally, Nephrite decides to ask Haim something major, a very big favor. Satu is in his room chilling. He was supposed to meet up with Haim, but she is not showing up. Finally, someone knocks on the doors and Satu is shocked. It's Nephrite and also Haim. They have come to have a threesome with him. Satu cannot believe that Haim is okay with this, but before he can even speak a word, both girls are totally naked and on top of him. Satu has the craziest night in his life, and the following day, he is more tired than when he fought the Lord of the Abyss. Haim tells him that this new arrangement is fine. She is his queen, but the other girls also want a piece of him. Nephrite, on the other hand, is super happy. She's finally where she wants to be. She thanks both of them and tells them that she wants to be with them forever. In the meantime, Granat has decided that it's now her turn to make a move on her boy Satu. Back in AniWorks, we see that the Emperor is still planning what to do next with Satu. Soon Haim's grandfather arrives and he is angry. It seems that the Emperor tried to hire an assassin to take out Satu. Haim's grandfather tells him to stop this, but the Emperor finds Satu very dangerous, and his ring could once more invite the Abyss back into the kingdom. In the meantime, Granat wants to be the next in line to seduce Satu. She has been trying to get into his pants for months now, and since Nephrite managed to get in there, it's about time. Granat gets advice from the other girls, and she also jumps all over Satu. She actually wakes him up totally naked in bed. Satu rejects her once more since he has to be loyal to Haim. Granat is frustrated with this, so she goes to talk with Haim to get her permission. I love that Haim will now have to give permission for all the other girls to bang her husband. Haim tells Satu to take Granat on a date. Granat really wants to be with him. Satu has to help out. Satu has been trying to control himself around Granat, but she is just too hot. On their date, everyone in town is turning to see her. She's that attractive. Granat even bought a gift for Satu since it's Valentine's Day. This is really important for her, but Satu has to hold back. He is only doing this for Haim. He has to follow some rules. They enjoy their date while holding hands, and it's actually fun. It's very clear that Granat loves spending time with Satu. Satu is nervous the entire time. Finally, Granat decides to confess her feelings, but Satu rejects her, not because he does not like her, but because of Haim. Rather, she literally had a threesome with Nephrite a few days ago. She's going to survive this. Granat, of course, starts to cry and runs away. Haim is even angry at Satu and tells him to run over there and fix the situation. Damn, Satu destroyed the abyss, but these girls are going to destroy him now.